Hi, welcome to the Old Geezer's Diary. It's Monday, the 12th of August 2019. Today, well, what's the topic? It's the law of unexpected consequences. Bloody hell, sounds posh, doesn't it? But actually, it's pretty straightforward. The case is that whatever we as human beings do, it almost invariably has some consequences that we didn't foresee. And now I'm going to go back 20 odd years to when the internet started. I started on the internet in 1997 or 1998, something like that, maybe 1996. But pretty early on, I was what was called an early adopter, which is quite funny when you think about it, isn't it, really? But I started then, I had a website back then about amateur theatre, it was huge. But since then, we've all fallen in love with the internet in one way or another. So most of us have an online presence of some sort, most of us do lots of stuff online, and a lot of us do a lot of business online. Many of us use Amazon and loads of other outlets to buy stuff, and every day hurtling around our streets you see literally thousands of vans delivering stuff that we've bought online. But the unexpected consequence from that, really, that no one saw coming, was the decimation of our high street by the internet plague, because that's what this internet is as far as high street retailers are concerned. Every time you walk down the street, you see closed shops. Sometimes town centres do reasonably well, but the town centre that Dot and I were in yesterday, Sunday afternoon, had some good bright spots, but it had some dim spots as well where things weren't too bright. At one period, we walked down a little bit of the main street, the main shopping street, where there are about 10 shops, and out of that section of 10 shops, I think 5 of them were actually closed, empty, and I think one of the remaining others was due to close before Christmas. That's really scary, and it's essentially due to the internet because it's a kind of ongoing cascade effect. If you sell something and people on the internet sell it cheaper, then your shop will probably go out of business. If the shops next door to you on either side depend on people coming to your shop and other shops to get the footfall, to get their turnover, then when your shop closes, it's going to reduce their footfall, and so it makes them more likely to go out of business as well. So it's a kind of cascade, isn't it, really? And the unexpected consequences keep travelling down the line. So we have to find a better way of actually making the retail industry and the shopping experience work for us. How do we do that? I think one of the biggest problems we have is that we have a very entrenched position with high street property. High street property used to sell, I don't know whether it now does now, but high street property used to sell for enormous sums because the owners could get enormous rents. But I think rents on high street shops are currently crashing, and therefore shop properties aren't attractive anymore because no one wants to rent a shop because you know that Charlie Brown will sell your product cheaper online. So what we need to do is kind of reinvent the high street. What we need to do perhaps is get those rents right down, get the rateable values right down, and allow people with small individual businesses to actually get into business properly, to actually deal with customers on a one-to-one basis. I don't think that high street shops are ever again going to be able to sell things like low-end clothes, because they're sold by one or two big retailers, but otherwise they're sold online. They're not going to be able to sell so much in the way of appliances and stuff because a lot of that is sold online. But what high street shops can do, and I think must do to survive, is actually provide personal services, i.e. hairdressers. I haven't been to one for years. Nail clinics, whatever you call them, you know, where you go and get your nails painted and manicured and stuff. That kind of place. Restaurants, cafes, social events, social places where retailers deal with customers on a one-to-one basis. We have a classic example in our little town, which is a shop which was taken over by a lady who did crafts, and she rents out all her spaces to other little ladies who do crafts, and they have a magnificent little business between them. But it's all very one-to-one. You couldn't really sell a lot of what they sell online. So that, I think, is the future of our high streets. Much more crafty, much more individual, much more idiosyncratic, perhaps, in terms of what they sell, but paying much lower rents and rates. And either we go with that kind of scenario, I believe, or we watch our high streets crash and burn and become dead zones where effectively the only use for a shop front will be to rent it out for 3 or 4 people to sleep in. That seems like the way it could go. I don't know. Do you want a room? Here's a shop front. You can have this shop for 50 quid a week and you can live in it. We need to find a better way to deal with our shops, because there is no way that any town can encourage successfully the big shops that we had in the past. What do you think? Where do you think we should go with shops and shopping? I think it's a really interesting and really difficult conundrum, and I'd love to know what you think. I'm Chris. You can reach me via The Old Geezer's Diary on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on our own little website on Blogspot. So all you have to do is get in touch, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you like what I do, click on like. If you'd like to see more of my videos, click on subscribe. If you'd like to get a notification to tell you when I put a new video up, just click on the little bell next to subscribe. I welcome your comments, and I'd love to hear from you, whatever you've got to say. Okay, I'm Chris. This is The Old Geezer's Diary, and I will see you soon.